All right. So, yes, we have Marcus. How this is going to work, we really are going to hear a little bit about what they're doing now and their kind of before story, so to speak. Really hearing about what were they doing earlier in their job search, what was not working, what caused them to make a pivot, what did they do to pivot, and how did that really help them get more visibility, get more traction, get more confidence, which is huge. So, first of all, I'd love just to do like 2, 3 minute intro of who you are, what you're kind of doing right now. And then we'll get a little bit more into like your backstory and stuff like that. So Marcus, let's hear a little bit about who you are, what you are doing. And Marcus got hired very recently, so I'm not gonna give it away, but Marcus, the mic is yours.
Thanks, Sarah. Hey, everyone. My name is Marcus, pronoun he, him, his, based in Seattle, Washington. I am a designer researcher at Nava, which is a consultancy and public benefit corporation. So I'm working with the government. I know, wild time to be working with the government. We work on federal and state projects. I'm currently assigned on a federal project with the Department of Justice. And so one of my projects is helping to improve the T visa application process for people who have been human trafficked. So really impactful work that I'm doing there with Nava. Before Nava, yeah, I was like unemployed for a year. I was working at eBay. It was 2024, they laid me off. The first 6 months, I was like enjoying life, like having fun, but I was like casually applying here and there. But I was like not getting any hits. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because like this worked like a couple of years ago. Like I was getting interviews like with the strategy I had before. I was like, oh, okay, something's not working here. And so 6 months in, I was like, okay, I need to join, I need to change up my strategy. Like, what else can I do? Like, I remember joining Sarah's like one-off workshops. Like, oh, I think I was really intrigued by it. Like, I was clearly considering, okay, I think I need to join the CSL program because I need to shift my strategy and like commit my time. It's like it was already August, like my severance was up, my unemployment was up. I gotta like lock in and find a job really fast. And then luckily within CSL, there was someone who had just joined but then got a job at Nava. And I had posted that I was also doing a volunteer project with United States Digital Response, so kind of like volunteer civic tech work. And that person, that now alumni, was like, "Hey, I'm interested in that volunteer work you're doing. Can you let me know how that goes?" I was like, "Sure, like I'll let you know." So fast forward, I think about like November 2024, I reached back out with her. It's like, "Hey, I'll tell you about my experience." And we connected. And after that conversation, she's like, "Hey, I really enjoyed our talk. If there's ever an open position at Nava, I'd love to recommend you." And so a couple weeks passed by and a position opened up. I reached back out. She said, "Yeah, I'll refer you." And so I went through the whole referral application process, and that's where I'm at now.
And that was not too long ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was like you got hired in the past 3 months or so?
Yeah, I just started in March. I got the offer in February,
Oh,
and so I got done with
wow.
CSL in December.
And I think one thing I would highlight with Marcus's experience is like the power of relationships with people that you kind of actually know. It's getting a referral is not just about going on LinkedIn and typing in the company name and sending a DM to someone and asking them for a referral link. Like when people refer you, they're putting their reputation on the line, right? And so you need to have like some semblance of relationship. And that is part of what Marcus you got from CSL was this great serendipitous relationship with this other person who was already there. And that led to, you getting hired. And now with an alumni base of I want to say close to 600 people. I'm not going to distract myself and go look it up, but I think we're close to six, maybe a little more. Like that's a lot of people working a lot of very interesting companies that, could be leveraged in your job search in the future or who knows. But power relationships is so, so important.
Oh yeah, also wanted to mention as well, like the whole like portfolio was a big game changer in terms of my interviewing skills. Like it gave me the confidence to talk about the value of myself as I was going through my interviews with these other people and to like knowing that what my portfolio was like last year was not telling a story at all. It was very much like I created this deliverable, then I created that deliverable and this deliverable. It wasn't really telling a story, but with the
Mm,
CSL like foundations and teachings, it's like giving me a foundation even when I'm going forward with my new work. Like I have something I can base off now when I'm working my new projects as well.
hmm
Not as daunting as it is anymore.
Well, and one thing I would add too is that, even though you just got hired, fast forward to whenever your next job search might be, just hypothetically, you now have the tools and the knowledge to make it less daunting in the future, right? Because now you know better, essentially.
Exactly.
All right. I would love to talk about, confidence because confidence comes up quite often, as we've already heard. And one misconception we see with confidence is that people kind of don't realize that confidence doesn't just come to you in your sleep or like, come out of the sky like lightning. Confidence really comes from taking action. And as you've kind of heard, Marcus became more confident with that portfolio. And so I want to hone in on how you feel your confidence changed, compared to when you were first starting out with CSL, and if there were any other parts of it that you really think contributed to that confidence. And then kind of point B to that question is how did that translate to your interviews and or like even the position you're in now? Marcus, what do you have to say on this topic of kind of confidence shifts and mindset shifts, especially when you think, beyond the portfolio, as we kind of already talked about?
Yeah. I think for me, yeah, I was definitely lacking confidence, like coming into like almost like 6 months, like no jobs, 2024. Then like what really stood out to me during CSL was the mindset calls we had every week. So on Wednesdays, we'd have calls with everyone in the cohort coming together, just like vent, just be real about how we're going through the job application process. There's no like, hey, like what I'm feeling by myself, like other people are feeling that as well. So it's not as lonely. And there's an opportunity just to hear each other out, space to just like listen and also get feedback or how we can approach different tactics. And so it was great to hear like you weren't alone in what you were going through. And that was it helped shift my mindset a lot into showing like, hey, I'm not the only one going through this, or there are other tactics we can approach to solve this. And so it's good to hear that you're not alone. So, because job searching can be very isolating, and then like you just put so much energy towards it, so it gets really like you isolate yourself from people. You don't want to get feedback from other people, but this forces you to do that, and it creates a safe space for you to do that as well. And so you're also getting like feedback from the coaches as well and from Sarah as well when we submit our items for critique, we get direct objective feedback on how we can improve the resume, our LinkedIn page, the portfolio, feedback on our one-page compass statement. And so that's really important as well because like who do you have to give you this objective feedback within your direct circle? Not that many.
All right, the next topic, it's a little self-reflective, but I'm curious, in a couple of words or in a sentence, like how do you think you are different now than before you said yes to Career Strategy Lab? It could be one word, it could be a sentence, however you want to kind of like respond to that. But what is your kind of just gut reaction to thinking about, the before and after version of you after you said yes to Career Strategy Lab?
I think for me, I think the power of, yeah, community and reflection is really important. I wouldn't be where I'm at now without CSL community, without the USDR community, without other
Mm,
designers I've met throughout my time of unemployment. During my time of unemployment, kind of like a silver lining. Like I had the chance, like to go to different meetups, to interact with different groups online and in person, and like develop those communities. And then with CSL as well, like devoted time to reflect on myself of like who I am, where do I want to go, where my strengths lie, how to be more confident, how to ask for support. It really is important to like reflect because a lot of our world is very much like go, 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 go. What's next? Move on to the next thing, move to the
mm,
thing. But when you reflect, you really key in and hone in on like who you are as a person. And when you have that time to reflect to know who you are as a person and you can communicate that into an interview and knowing that you did the best you did in an interview to communicate who you are, I think that gives you even more confidence when you go through interview process.
And you just went through it. So if anyone would know, you would. Yeah. All right. Last question, I promise. What is one piece of advice you would give someone who was thinking about or who joined Career Strategy Lab today? What would you say to them? It could be as simple or as not simple as you wish.
Yeah, I think, yeah, building that like trust the process from beginning to end. I think also as well, lean into the CSL community, not just the coaches and Sarah, but like the people within the cohorts. Like they have such a wealth of knowledge and experiences because you can see it, Fritz and Joshua, they have like over 20 years experience of like design work. Me, I only have 5 years experience. So it was good to like get different perspectives on design and people's feedback when I was giving out my presentation, when I was asking for support on how things worked or how like my portfolio looked like. That was really beneficial just to get those different breadths of experiences. And I feel like, yeah, there's like the program will work as much as effort you put in. So the more
Mm,
effort you put in, the more that will come out of it. So the more you're engaged with the CSL community, the more you're engaged with doing the process, the more you'll get out.
love it. Could not have said it any better myself. All right. I just want to take a moment to thank Marcus for giving us their time to share about your experience. I think it's just so much encouragement and hopefulness can come from hearing from people who were recently in the shoes that many people are in here today. So we just want to thank you for your time. And I know people really, really appreciate it. I think it just is a good reminder that regardless of how many years of experience you have or what you do in your specific umbrella of user experience, the challenge of articulating your story, creating the resume, the portfolio, networking, everything, it's kind of just something that doesn't get easier just because you have more years of experience, right? It kind of gets more complicated because you have more experience to communicate, et cetera. And so I think it's just an important reminder that Career Strategy Lab is not just for people with a certain number of years of experience, because as you saw, all these people have very, very different experience. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you were encouraged by the stories of people. And thanks for coming. Bye, everyone. See ya.